Hi, welcome back to JJ's Productions. We've got another Stoke City Vlogcast. With me as always is Jan. How are you doing?
I'm okay, thanks. Hi folks, I hope you're okay.
I feel like we're on a bit of an endless repeat regarding coming off funny results. I mean, I didn't actually think we played well against Rotherham. We didn't play badly against Rotherham, but the result doesn't really reflect that.
It doesn't, but it's the best performance I've seen on TV. We always say we don't go to the match at the minute, but for the ones we've seen on television, I think that was the best.
It's just a recurring thing where I keep saying I feel sorry for Gary Rowett in the sense that he must actually be getting bored of coming out at the end of a match and saying, well, after half time we just switched off, because it's sort of becoming a really recurring thing where I want to know what goes on in them players' minds, that they come out and think, alright, I'll just concede a goal, because even if it's not an active thought of theirs, they're obviously not switched on.
Out of 10 matches that we've played, didn't he say yesterday, this is the 6th time we've scored straight after half time?
It's something along those lines, definitely, and it's quite astonishing that we've been so blasé from the kick-off.
Well, I couldn't believe it. I mean, to be honest, I went out of the room, come back in, and they'd scored.
The 2-0 you took,
yeah. Straight after half time. I couldn't believe it.
Now, this is the annoying thing. At 1-0, you do think we're going to go 2-0 down in the minute, because they lost all composure. And even when it went to 2-0, you thought, they're going to get another if we don't watch out here.
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful they didn't get the third, because there was a point when you thought they could. I think when the Captain Wood went off, I think we did actually steady a little bit, but I don't know why that was the case. It should have been that we carried on as we did the first half, but even Rowett himself admitted, as soon as the goals went against us, we lost all composure.
Yeah, heads went down as usual, and we sort of give up in our minds, but they can't.
This is where I'm really getting a bit frustrated with those who attack Rowett, for the simple reason I understand that you're meant to be able to coach these players. Yet, what Williams did yesterday, is that actually something that he's been coached against per se, or is it just something where he's had a moment of madness? And yes, I get I respect the idea that Williams is one of Rowett's buys, if you like. But I can't help but think to myself, he doesn't send Williams onto the pitch and say, go pull at the guy's shirt in the penalty box, go and lose your man in the penalty area to corner. It's
He's
just
a bit too handy at doing that, isn't he, really? I mean, to be honest, that's how I felt about Ryan sometimes. Not this season, but seasons ago, that Ryan was tugging at shirts in the box, and he just had a habit. If he wasn't tugging at the shirts, he'd put his arms around the player, and Ryan got into a really bad habit at doing that. And
yeah,
this is what
Williams
is doing.
I mean, it's annoying because I've seen since the game people are calling for Ryan to be reinstated to the first 11 because of Williams' poor performance. Now, I actually described it this way when someone was talking about it, that I wouldn't be unhappy if Williams got dropped, and I wouldn't be unhappy if Ryan came back into the team. But if Williams keeps his place and Ryan stays on the bench, I'm not complaining either. Because the way I'm looking at it is, you could pick any combination of 4 players in that back 4, and right now I'm not convinced that they'd be able to keep a clean sheet.
No, I aren't either. But I honestly believe that when Ryan does come back on, he'll give it 100%. Because he doesn't want to be sitting on the bench. He's never had to do that.
It's not just that, though. I think, in a way, it might be beneficial if he is forced out of the team a little bit. In the sense of... I'm not being nasty again there. But it's like, say he doesn't play against Bolton. I'd like then, for the next game, unless Williams and Bruno do well, I'd like it then that he comes back in the sense that he's had a bit of time away from the first 11 and he's seen what's been going wrong. Because sometimes I do think it's beneficial for players when they sit on the sideline, they can actually view what's happening. And I think this might be a point where Ryan goes, you know what, I've been guilty of that as well. And he can recognise errors that he's witnessing.
Yeah.
It's I suppose it's much harder if you're in the eye of the storm and you're actually at fault for mistakes, whereas if you're sitting back and seeing what's going wrong, maybe you can galvanise the troops a bit better.
Yeah, I believe that's true, Josh. You've picked up on a good point there, to be honest. So, leave him out this Tuesday, when we play. And just let's see how it pans out with Williams again.
I mean, don't get me wrong, if he does have another bad game, I think there is a breaking point with Williams where I think the supporter base will go, come on, he's making that many mistakes, even Ryan didn't do that. But I think just for another game or two, we could do with just letting him run it out and just see, can he get a run of form, or is he just not worthy of a place in the team at all?
Well, we noticed just today, Williams, they were attacking, Rotherham were attacking.
It was like near the end of the game, the last 10 minutes.
And Williams was right way back, and we thought, what the hell is he doing there?
Yeah, that was frustrating to watch as well, because obviously it was 2-2 at that point. I think it was after Bojan scored anyway, and I'll agree, we were very end-to-end at that point. Either team could have scored. But what was annoying is that they were on the attack, and Williams was sort of jogging. It was as if he was trying to fill a midfield area, and I'm thinking, but why not just try and slip into the back line? And then, I can't remember if someone from the midfield was covering in defence, but at least then there were more bodies in the back.
Well, he was actually near on the wing, wasn't he? He was that far.
What actually got me then, because I am just remembering this, that once we regained possession in that passage of play, he didn't actually slip back into the defence then or jog back. He sort of just stayed where he was until everyone readjusted to where he was. And it's like, come on, just put a jog about. I know you're not on the right side of 30 now, but try and prove that you want to be in the team. It sounds like I'm being one of these supporters here who says, jogging's the most important thing. You've got to really run and show that you want it. But sometimes I think if you do show a lack of motivation to run, it doesn't really bode well.
It reminds me actually of Arnie, because when we were going, we were sat right at the front, on the halfway line, and just a classic case, we'd be 2-1 down, say, Arnie's head would be down, and he'd come right by me, and I'd say, will you move?
Yeah.
And this is how I feel against Williams.
I mean, really, you can sort of tolerate wide men or forwards having that attitude because they're creators and they can sometimes get a little bit down in the dumps if the defence aren't doing the job. But the problem I have is if a defender's doing that, that doesn't really bode well for their confidence, because when you've got that...
Arnie's supposed to have been marking a man.
Yeah.
It's touche.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm happy to switch away from Arnie because talking about him right now just gives me Balitondic. But yeah, it's annoying witnessing players having this attitude, isn't it? I mean, we really just want them to play well, but obviously Williams isn't on the right side of 30. Shawcross is in a bad run of form. Bruno, I think he's just completely lost. I mean, that back pass to Butland yesterday, that just looked to me a player as if to say, everything's going against me. And
yeah.
Ecker's in the team by Rout's own admission that there isn't any competition for him. Martin is getting picked on because he isn't exactly a good defender, and to be honest, when we signed him we knew that, so I don't know who was expecting different. Edwards, he'll get criticised the moment he makes a mistake despite the fact that he's 18 and a Stoke youngster. I'm rambling, but it's just a point that not one of them can do something right in their eyes.
I mean, I saw that Woods was captain yesterday, and as soon as I saw him, and I don't know how you felt, folks, but I thought he'd just got out of bed and walked on the pitch. He was yawning, and I thought, well, this is a great start. This is just as we're getting kick off.
It sort of sums us up that we'd have a sleepy start and a sleepy captain. I mean, maybe he was just...
Goodness.
I don't know, maybe he'd had a little cat nap before the game and he was just waking up from it still.
Well, his eyes looked like it and his hair looked like the wild man of Borneo. Good gracious.
Alright, well, I'm going to say my hair ain't good today, but, no need to pick on that. But, the way I see it is, I think Woods did alright in the captain's role. Surprised he got it, although I understand the reasoning behind it. But I think it was actually his least effective game for us. I'm not saying he had a bad game, but It's like, at the end I thought, God, you're looking a bit leggy, lad. And maybe it's just the run of games we've had, it's taken his toll on him a little, just energetic-wise. But, like I say, I feel like against Bolton, he could just do with having a simpler game, not having to go out into wide areas all the time to cover space. But
well, we'll just have to see when he comes on Tuesday.
One man who I think we're expecting to see play on Tuesday, hopefully from the start, is Bojan.
Yes, I hope so.
I mean, I get some of the criticism that people say that, he might have scored, but did he do much else? But the way I look at it is, I think from the fans' perspective, he gives everyone a little lift. And I'd like to think the players get a lift just based on what Tom Ince has had to say. So you'd want to see him start just for that, to try and get the players feeling, we've got an ex-Barcelona player in the side, he's going to give us a real boost. And I think if he's on the bench again, it's not going to be good.
Bojan does give 100% when he comes on.
Yeah, personally, I didn't think he had a bad game. I'm just going by some of the comments I've read, but...
we watched it live, love,
Yeah.
We could see it happening as it happened.
Yeah, if anything, he took his goal really well. If there was one type of goal I wouldn't have taken Bojan for, it's that, despite the fact that one of my favourite headers of a ball was Tim Cahill, who's probably only a little bit taller than him. So, it is...
Yeah.
It could be any skill set if he needed it, but I certainly wouldn't put it down as a header type of player.
No, I wouldn't. I was a bit shocked when I saw him editing.
It's a nice finish. So,
yeah, but as I say, he gave it 100%, and that's all we can ask for.
It is where I agree with the Bojan supporters who say we need to maybe give him a run, because in the Premier League it is a little bit harder to give players who are out of form a run, because if they are playing bad, you're carrying them. But the way I see it is right now, our team isn't playing great defensively. We might be doing right offensively right now, but on the defence maybe we're a bit poor. So we can actually afford to give a player who's not playing well a run of form, a run of games, just in the sense that, maybe while you're sorting yourself out, them lot can sort themselves out. So,
I just hope that when they watch this match back, they think to themselves, why can't we play like that for 90 minutes instead of the odd 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there?
Yeah.
But I do believe that when Bojan come on, the game lifted.
Well, what I found interesting as well is that we've got comments from Rowett again regarding Peter Crouch. And it's relating to after we equalised, and he was saying, I think we lost our composure. And I actually applaud Rowett for that, for the fact that he's the first Stoke manager I've noticed criticise the team for oofing long balls up to Crouch when a bit more composure would actually give you a better chance of scoring. Because it's something that irritates me. I think, why do we always go long to him? Why not at least try and build up? So I'm glad Rowett's called him on that, because if they're listening to him, which I think the number of goals we've scored in this period, even if we haven't been winning, I think it shows the players are playing for him. I don't think they've lost the dressing room as was feared. But I would like to think that if they are listening to him, that maybe they will try and play a bit more patiently if Crouch is on the pitch.
Well, I made a comment to you yesterday, and Smith went into one of our players, I can't remember who, folks, I'm sorry, went into one of our players and referee did nothing. And I said, if that had been Crouch, he'd have been booked.
Yeah.
Now, Crouch come on, he did that, and straight away the whistle went.
It is a cliche with Crouch, and he's always going to get the decisions against him, but there's not a lot we can do except for just hope that the ref does see it the way we see it, which doesn't always happen, but you have to hope.
Yeah. But anyway, all in all, it was a good match. We did well to come back from 2-0 down.
We should have been probably two goals up, maybe. I'm thinking of the Afobe chances in particular.
Hitting the bar, that was a shame, that.
Yeah, so first half we deserved to be in the lead, so to actually be 2 goals down was disappointing. But I think any Stoke fan who says we didn't deserve to win across the 90 minutes is being hard on the team, because I know we conceded the 2 sloppy goals, but had we actually scored the goals we should have done in the first half, at the most we would have been level. So, like I say, I think we've been very unlucky in that game to not actually get more than just the draw.
Yeah, I believe that too, love. And once again, well done to all the supporters who went there.
Yeah.
And you were heard, and that's what boosts Stoke up, really.
Oh, and can I just shout out to that man who gave Bojan a hug? I think nearly every Stoke supporter would have joined in jumping over that barrier just to go and give him a hug.
Yeah.
I know you shouldn't, but equally, even I might not have...
I might have tried that.
I was going to say, he's had a tough time, Bojan, so I think even I'd have been tempted. But yeah...
so well done on the draw. Not what we wanted, but Tel Aviv,
It was a good point in bad circumstances. Shall we move on to Bolton, though, because it is a case of we want to cover Bolton just a bit, make sure that we let people know what we're thinking of going into that game?
Well, I'm here again I'm not negative, folks. I just only like Stoke. This is my problem. and I can't help it. But I don't dislike Bolton, but I don't like them either. I think they're a funny team.
A bit like ourselves, then.
Yeah, they're either all or nothing, which is what we are at the moment. And that's how I feel about Bolton. If they're on television, I don't care if I watch them or whether I don't. But I like them in other... I know it's like contradicting myself, but as I say, I don't care one way or the other. I like them, and I don't like them.
Well, I've got a few things to touch on myself. I like Phil Parkinson, first of all, the Bolton manager. He was the guy who got Bradford to the League Cup final. So just from a neutral point of view, I'll always admire him for being able to lead the charge, as it were, with that. For me, that's one of the greatest sporting things, up there with Leicester. So I don't think anyone can ever forget that, really. But with this Bolton side, he hasn't had any money, really. I think maybe he's been able to buy one player this season, Josh McGuinness, I think. But besides that, I don't think he's had any other purchases in his time there. So he's done well on what is essentially a shoestring budget. And you hear about how Bolton nearly went into administration this season. I think the fact that they've managed to perform so well is a credit to Parkinson and the squad he's assembled.
Yeah, I mean, I felt sorry that they could have gone into administration. I don't think any football club should do that, really. It doesn't matter if the club have got money or whether they haven't got money, but they should not go into receivership. Somebody somewhere does the books wrong and makes a mockery of it, really. So, I'm totally against clubs going into administration.
Yeah, I think it all stems from the Premier League days, to be fair, but I'm not too knowledgeable on the actual ins and outs. Maybe it's something when they were trying to come back up. I'm not 100% sure there, but...
Well, I've always dealt with books and accounts, and straight away I can see if the company I'm dealing with is going to go bump or not. And surely, being a football accountant, which is a mega job, straight away, months before, they can see that something is happening and something should be done.
I mean, you have a look at the squad this season and there were a lot of outs and a lot of ins, and there is a chance that, I'm speculating here, I'll admit, but it could be that a number of those who they let go were on higher wages and the ones they brought in have taken a lower wage, so it could be that they tried to do things via the transfer window to lower to balance the books, but maybe just that, I think they've got investment to avoid the administration, but if that's, or it was either investment or they managed to get a delay on one of the loans or something like that, but whichever way, you think to yourself, I think they did try to stay out of administration, but the threat was there in the end.
Yes, yeah, I blame the finance officer here.
I think the argument there is you shouldn't offer wages or pay fees that you can't really balance. I'm speculating, maybe a Bolton fan can inform us better here.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's nothing to do with us, how or why they went, they were near to it, but I can only speculate what happened.
Right, so we're just going to get off the pitch for a moment and go back on it. What are the stats for the season so far?
Well, they've had 4 wins, 3 draws and 3 losses. And that is quite good, really, considering they're in 14th position. I expected them to be a bit higher than that, to be honest.
Well, I'm sure I read somewhere they'd already bettered last season's position in terms of how many points they gained at that point. Yeah. So, in their eyes, they're doing fantastic, I imagine.
Yeah. I mean, I do think they're doing well. I mean, they're above us.
That's easy enough to say. I think if you'd have told them you'll be above Stoke in September, they'd have taken it.
Well, we wouldn't, would we? Because we were expected to be in the top 3 all season.
Oh, that's it.
But it's just one of them things. But you've just said that they bought the one player, that was McGuinness.
Yeah.
His top scorer was 4 goals. Now, that to me was a blinking good buy.
Yeah.
That's like our Afobe.
Yeah, they got him from Charlton, I think, and I think they might have exchanged someone in return. But this is where I'm actually doubting it was a fee. It could have been a player swap and maybe some money exchanged hands, I don't know. But like I say, they haven't had a lot of deals. I mean, when you think one of their biggest deals is still at the club, and David Wheater, I think they signed him from Middlesbrough for a respectable fee when they did. And he's club captain now, so, you know, credit to David Wheater for sticking around. I think they've nearly released him a couple of times as well, so he's an interesting player for that. You know, he's stuck through the bad times, but maybe, again, Bolton fans can say other things. They might say, oh, he's a dirty so-and-so, he would nearly left us this year or that year, so... Yeah. We don't really know the ins and outs, but on paper it looks like he's been there quite a while.
Yeah. But as I say, I think he was a good signing. And he's getting the goals for him, and I do think he's one we have got to watch when we play them on Tuesday. You know, I think he just gets goals easily if when the ball is there, sort of thing. Whereas
he's a good poacher.
We wobble, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got to watch him when we play them.
Okay, so we are nearly at the end of the video and we're going to just cut the stats short here, but what are your predictions for the Bolton game?
I'm just going 1-0 to Stoke.
1-0 Stoke. I'm going to say I'm just not capable of backing them for a clean sheet because we just haven't got it in us at the moment, so...
Yeah, that's another thing. Jack's got Gary's act together a little bit as well.
Yeah, he's not just his shot stopping, but also his distribution. In my opinion, I've had a conversation with someone who was at the game yesterday, who says his distribution was okay in parts, but
I watched it live.
What I'm saying is, like, I'm talking about like throwing out from corners, whereas I thought he could have done better. This guy at the match says he didn't have much chance, so I'm not being overly critical, or I'm going to try and not be overly critical.
Anyway, what's your prediction?
Yeah, my prediction, 2-1, for the simple reason...
To Stoke?
Yeah, for the fact that I believe we're going to score goals. It's just a case of if Bolton get the first one, it could end up being 2-2. So I'm just hoping we score the first one, we get a second, and even if we cock up and they score one, it won't be enough in the end.
Yeah. I mean, like me, if we were playing Barcelona or Inter Milan, I'd still say Stoke can win 1-0.
Well, I'm glad you've got that confidence in us.
Oh, I have. I always have had. I went through every match thinking we're going to win there.
Well, I really wish I could go into those games right now, because I have always been glass half full, but the last season and a bit has taken its toll on me, so I hope we can get back to that point, because it would be nice to have a glass half full approach, not having to go into the weekend wondering what's going to happen, so, yeah.
Oh, ye of little faith.
But yeah, that's it for this episode. We'll be back for the next game as always, but until then, this has been Josh, this has been Jan as well, from JJ's.
Okay, cheerio folks.
Bye for now everyone, see you next time.
Bye.